Just before the break, Cindy, we were talking about forgiveness and how you handled a man who sent you a little bit of I think, off topic, took a little shot at you, and you handled it so remarkably well. And as you go through this, I mean, our audience is listening, and I'm sure they're thinking, well, what do I do when somebody has a barking dog next door? What am I doing if I get a nasty letter? What if I do if the landlord's sending me a terrible thing? What if I do if? And so in a direct way, as you were saying throughout the show, it starts with your own mind and how you react or choose not to react to those events. Can you elaborate a little bit more on how you
Yeah, I can. That's a great question. Well, the first thing we do is before we act, I think it's important to really understand where first are we coming from in our own minds before we address the situation. That way we can be certain, am I in my own right mind right now? Can I get myself centered before I even talk to the landlord? So that way, set the goal at the beginning. Set the tone, the clarification of the goal at the beginning. What do I want to come of this conversation? If I'm going to have a conversation with someone, sort of set that goal. Do you want peace above all else? Well, maybe peace will be your goal. And doesn't mean you're not addressing the situation. You're just saying, what do I want to come of this? Well, maybe I want this to be about joining, not separation. I want to make this a win-win situation. These are some examples of right-minded ideas and thinking, and you're getting yourself kind of connected and centered. And how would my right mind look at this? And then once you feel you're sort of centered, so you're not just going out there, really, really pissed off, which probably won't go very well if you start to interact with someone and have that energy. It's just
that's
the other person's probably going to want to attack back and nothing's going to get resolved. But if you get centered first, then and ask for guidance, from spirit, whatever guide or whatever you feel resonates with you, um, then it's perfectly normal in this world to address situations sometimes that need to be addressed. If it's a landlord, if it's a neighbor, or if it's right, a friend, it doesn't matter who it is, even a family member. But if it's something that you feel really needs to be addressed, it's perfectly normal to have conversations and say, but the goal is, I think, what we want to do is just making sure we're not falling into the trap of blame and saying, you are the cause of my suffering, or you are the cause of how I feel, because that's really not true.
Mhm.
We're our own cause of how we feel. Nobody can make us feel anything. That's a choice. So, but it doesn't mean we're not going to be appropriate in the world. Let's say, I'll give an example. Let's say you have a neighbor, and this neighbor you actually can clearly see they're physically abusing a young child. They're child abuse.
Yeah. What do you do?
What do, right? Well, the A Course in Miracles would certainly not say, even though it says this world was a dream and an illusion, it doesn't mean we're not going to do things that are appropriate. So what you could do after again, maybe center yourself, and you can still call the authorities. I mean, you can be appropriate, do what you feel is necessary to do that is the most loving. What would that be? Well, it's not very loving to sit back maybe the guidance is to call the authorities and say, look, this person is abusing this child. This is not loving to either the abuser or the abusee, because it's allowing the behavior to continue. So it's okay to take action sometimes to stop behavior that's hurting or harming someone. But you
Mm.
can still, this is the key, at the mind level, you can still learn to practice forgiveness and forgive what your body's eyes are showing you, the images that you're seeing. You can still learn to forgive, and in the way that was described earlier, where you eventually, if you can't do it right away, it's okay, it takes time, but eventually you could come to the place where you remember everybody's fighting a hard battle. And we don't know what people are going through. That's why we can't judge. So everybody's been hurt everybody has experiences fear. Everybody, we don't know what their path is. We can't judge it. But eventually, if we can come to remember at the mind level that they're still the Christ, just like me. We're still equally loved by God. We make mistakes. Sometimes they appear to be big mistakes, but we want to eventually come to forgiveness. But it doesn't mean we don't take action and do what we feel is appropriate in the moment, like calling the authorities, right? Or if your house gets robbed, of course I'm going to call the police to come. That's a normal behavior, right? So you still do that, but I can still forgive at the same time. And that's the key. That we're
Well,
just, right? You don't have to give up anything with this kind of forgiveness. You're not changing the things you do literally, because the world is a dream or an illusion. You can still do your normal job, you do your normal things. It's just your mindset that you're paying attention to in your awareness of what is reality really? What are we doing here? What is the purpose? Well, the purpose is to be free, to let go of our judgments and grievances so we can be free and recognize our oneness with each other and with our source.
well, I think it has a lot to do with people going through experiences like you're suggesting, and then coming to that point of saying, I don't need to get upset about this. Hello, Mr. Authority. I see something happening next door that appears to be a parent harming their child. I don't know what the circumstances are, and for that, you've participated maybe helping a child, but maybe you're helping that parent too, who's just had some really bad news, or you don't know where the situation
Right.
between them, but you don't judge them, you don't get upset, and as you said, you can remain calm. And I think over and over in life, this is why we have to do it all the time.
Mhm.
Finally, after umpteen times, we get it right. You know.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. And that was you just did that recap was perfect because it does take again this
Can't
takes
do it all at once,
I
as
do
you
it
said
all the time,
earlier.
every day in everyday lives. Usually there's something, a lot of the times for a lot of us, something comes up that's we call a forgiveness opportunity. A forgiveness opportunity. And
Yeah,
so
I
you
like
want to
it.
be aware of when those come up so you can start practicing making what I call flipping your script, changing your mind about how you're thinking about that situation or that person and remembering everything is interconnected. And when you remember that and you remember, well, how can I be a part of the solution instead of part of the problem?
So when you teach the Course in Miracles or your courses, how can people get a hold of you and how can they or what kind of courses do you offer? How can they find out about them is what I guess I'm saying.
Yeah, well, I teach along with my husband online
Mhm.
classes on A Course in Miracles, which is nice for people because anybody from around the world can join these classes. You can find, we teach two-hour online classes on the course, on different themes from the course every month. And you can find information about that on my website, which is cindylora.com. And that's spelled CINDYLORA.com. And you can see under the appearances section what's going on, what events we're doing or I'm doing and the classes that I teach. And you can find out more about I have 4 books. I have another one called Heaven is Now and another one called Spiritual Coupling that has to do with how you can cultivate a holy relationship. And so
Right. Well, obviously, you and your husband being married, what was it again since
2009, so we've been married now
2009?
for,
That's
yeah.
like that's a long time ago.
Yeah,
Seems like,
yeah,
seems
it
like
feels now
yesterday.
like, yeah,
So
yeah.
obviously you're the right couple and soulmates and things like that, no doubt. But anyway, so listen, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show. Let's see that cover that book one more time.
The business, this one.
Whatever one you want to show. Show
There's
one.
another one here I'd like to show. This is Heaven is Now, which talks about the idea that heaven is literally everywhere. We just have to get into the mindset of being aware that it's all around us, and that happens by how we're choosing to think about the world and ourselves. And the last book is Spiritual Coupling, a guidebook for experiencing a holy relationship.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Those are beautiful covers, and I
Yeah.
guess they're on Amazon and at your from
Amazon, you can find the books on Amazon, my music on Amazon. I have some music CDs too. I'm a musician, and a lot of my songs I tend to write very uplifting music because I think that's needed. So
I'm sure with your personality, there would be no other kind. Listen, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show, Cindy.
thank
And
you.
again, it's it's cindylora.com is the website. And of course, her books are available on Amazon. It's been a pleasure to have her on the show. I wish you much success in your career.
Thank
And
you.
again, if you need some help, go to the website, cindylora.com, and you can find out more about this amazing author and this loving soul that's in the world, changing one reality at a time. Listen, thank you everybody for joining us on the Soul Report. We hope today's conversation has enriched your journey and ignited new perspectives. Don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring stories and follow us on our social media channels. Ring the bell, give us the like, give us the heart, whatever it takes. Until next time, keep nurturing your spirit, seeking knowledge, and spreading positivity. Remember, the growth of your soul is the most exciting journey you can embark on. I'm your host, Douglas James Cottrell, and we look forward to seeing you next time here on the Soul Report.